Everyone, this is Ryan Reagan, the founding partner of HKExcel. So welcome to the first episode of the IB Student Show. So on this show, it is my responsibility to answer any questions that IB students might have. So it doesn't necessarily have to be study related. It can be life related, relationship related, anything. I'll try my best to answer these questions as much as possible, right? So today, the answer we're going to explore is how to adapt to life after the IBDP. And this was submitted to one of our Instagram followers, right? So, because from grade 1 to grade 12, you're in this school environment. And then after you graduate from IBDP, you're actually going to the real world, which is very different from the school environment. So that's why one student asked us on tips on how to adapt. So this is the question I'm tackling today. And I think if you're about to graduate IB, or even if you're grade 11, this is going to be a very useful video for you. I hope that I can help you to adapt better after you graduate from IB. And for the viewers out there, if you have any questions about anything, right, just as an IB student, you can submit the question to us by commenting in our YouTube channel, or you can, DM us, email us, okay? So the first thing that is very different between the IBDP and the real world is that in the IBDP, basically your life is designed for you. The IB organization designs your life, okay? The IB will give you all of these assessments, which you have to do, and your teacher is going to supervise you, and then you need to submit all of these things on time, and then you get a mark. But the real world is very, very different, because in the real world, no one is going to design your life for you. Like, you have to design your own life. You have infinite choices on how you're going to spend your time, right? So this is a major challenge for fresh graduates from high school, because it takes some getting used to. I see a lot of students after they graduate from IBDP, they're lost for a few years. Like, they just feel lost. They don't feel a sense of purpose in their life. And the reason is because there are too many choices in the real world. And it is easy to feel lost because there are so many options out there. So that leads me to my second point, which is I believe that after you graduate from the IB, the most important thing is to find your place in the world. I think when you go to university, getting top grades in university does not necessarily have to be a priority. I think the most important thing you should get out of a university is you should find your place in the world. Like, what do I mean by that? Because there are many different types of careers out there, right? Like, maybe some people, they're going to work in this large organization, like HSBC, for example. Some people, they might like doing more laid back jobs, right? Like where there's no pressure, maybe like an Uber driver, for example, okay? And some people, they might want to work in small companies or even start their own business. So different people are suited to different things. Like, some people might enjoy working in a large corporation, but some people might not. Okay, I'll share with you my own story. When I got into the HKU, I studied economics and finance, right? Most of my classmates wanted to go to these large financial institutions, right? And because of that, because you can call it peer pressure, I was interested in those jobs as well at first. And then in my first year and my second year of university, I actually did some internships at these large financial institutions. But very quickly, I realized that the environment is not right for me. Like, I don't enjoy working in a large financial institution because I feel like I'm only taking orders. I don't see how my work is making an impact, right? So I figured out that I probably wouldn't enjoy doing that, right? And then luckily later on, I actually did an internship at this startup that was started by like just 3 people. So I worked at a company that only had 3 people at the time, right? It was a startup, but then it was a startup by very experienced entrepreneurs. So through that work experience, I found out that I enjoy working in a startup environment, because in a startup, what is a startup environment? Essentially like small teams, right? You work with a very close team of people, and everything you do is going to make an impact because there are only that many people, right? And then you form these really close relationships with people you work with, rather than in this large corporation, right? And you have a lot more control over how the organization is going. If you work at a small company, you're going to make a larger impact. That was my point of view. So because of this experience, actually, that led me to, starting HKExcel and other companies, right? And now we run HKExcel. We have over 30 teachers, right? So it is very important for you to find your place in the world. Like, what are you going to enjoy? What are you going to do with your life? That's very important. If you don't find your place in the world, it's easy to be miserable. Like, if you just work at a bank because everyone works at a bank, all of your classmates work in a bank, but you don't actually like working at a bank, then you're not going to lead a happy life. It's as simple as that. But the great thing about life after IB is that you get to choose. You can, as long as it's not illegal, you can basically do anything you want. So there are so many choices. You just need to find what's right for you. That leads me to my third point, which is, I think after you graduate from IB and you find your place in the world, I think it's very important for you to know what you want, right? Because in the real world, like essentially, because let's say in IB, your objective is always to get a level 7, right? Like that's your objective. But in the real world, like nobody's going to discipline you, right? And you basically set your own targets. So it is very important for you to know what you want, right? Like, do you want a great family life? Do you want to be very rich? Or do you want power? What do you want? Like, or do you just want to be happy? Like, there's no right answer here, but you need to know what you want. So, and I think that's extremely important, right? So after you find your place in the world, find out what you want. Like, know very deeply. Do you want great relationships? Do you want power? What do you want? And then, so you need to set your own objectives. My last point is that I believe to adapt to life after IB, I think it's very important for you to continuously learn, right? Like, what I mean by learning is not just like academic knowledge, but more practical knowledge, right? Like, because a lot of things you learn in university or in IB, it's not going to be useful for you in the real world, right? Depending on what you do, right? Because there are so many different paths, right? Like, let's say, for example, you want to be a football coach. There is so much you can learn about how to be a great football coach, right? Like, you just have to continuously learn, right? And you need to be eager to learn, right? Like, because nobody's going to spoon feed you the knowledge like an IB. You need to find your own teachers. You need to find your own resources to learn, right? Like, for example, if I'm interested in investing, right? Like, let's say I really want to be a great investor, then I need to find my own resources to learn how to become that. Like, I need to read the books from the best investors in the world and hopefully learn what they're doing so I can invest great as well, right? Just an example. Yeah, so I hope you like this kind of content. It's a new episode, so I hope you show us some love if you like this content, right? Just leave a comment. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll answer it next week. And if you like this episode, then please share this episode, or you can like our video. Okay, so I hope to see you guys soon again.